Okay. I was going to say, observers, can't.
No, okay.
Okay. So, apologies for Councillor Bell's running late. So leave of absence. No leaves of absence. Confirmation of the previous minutes. Move Councillor Nixon, second Councillor Goodman-Smith. All those in favour? Carried. General business arising out of the minutes? None? Okay. Now review of outstanding minutes actions. Any meeting actions?
Yeah, so we're not quite, have we appointed the new manager for the aquatic centre?
Yeah, well, through the chair, I believe it started last month, that was.
Yeah, so 16th.
16th, yeah. So that's, all of that's concluded.
So they've actually started.
They're on site.
Yeah, awesome.
I think most of them are basically well underway, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Chairman, in fact. I've been in contact with the RSL as well about the funding of the cenotaph as well.
Through the chair, I think they were applying for some more
They are.
funding at the moment.
Yeah, they're very, very proactive group.
Yeah.
Any other meeting actions? Material personal interests, conflicts of interest, personal gifts and benefits? None? Petitions? No petitions? Okay, moving on to committee recommendations, notes. Meeting minutes, level playing field group. I'll just say it's coming under you, Brad, is it?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, these minutes go back to October. I'm not 100% sure why they're being presented in January. I thought they'd already been presented, but they may not have been. But yeah, that's just because we were very clear on our approach that any decisions on the level playing field would come to committee. So we're just tidying up any governance issues there.
Yeah.
Through the chair, I think there was a bit of general discussion on whether we've seen those minutes, so they've just been put back through.
Yes,
Yeah.
I wanted
And I mean, just a comment, I suppose just talked about this already before, but dot point number 6, the test case of the Wolston Community Oval request, it said, you know, the response in the minutes is that the working group agreed that no increase in assistance would be provided and that support would be maintained until further policy direction is sought. I just want to remind this council that group is an advisory group, not a decision-making group. So that those recommendations, they're more recommendations, not decisions, that are meant to come back here. That's my understanding of how that committee works.
that's my understanding too.
Yeah.
Okay. So we just need to note those.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. Just endorse it.
Okay, endorse those.
I'm happy to do that, happy to do that.
Move. councillor Hayes, seconded councillor Daniels. All those in favour? Carried. Unanimous. Okay, moving on, committees, Central Highlands Arts and Cultural Advisory Committee, terms of reference.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I'll just ask Janice and her team to present this body of work. There has been a review of the terms of reference for Jack Acker, and I know that Janice and her team have been working on that, so there was a commitment to get this report to the committee prior to Christmas, but there are other competing priorities, but we have it today for consideration.
Just through there, the terms of reference are just a review of what was the old terms of reference to fall in line with the new standing committee process in the advisory committee process with that group. So it's just a revision of that and an operational terms of reference.
Do we just want to, mate, through the chair, can you just highlight the, we did propose some changes to the previous terms of reference, whether that was rotating membership or membership across the region. Can we just highlight some of those changes for the committee, please?
The changes for the committee are that this current committee would be nomination process would be the ongoing process until the new procedures, nomination procedures come into place for the CHACAC committee that meets on the beginning of June. So the aim is for the previous terms of reference really to apply, and then we move to the new terms of reference taking effect as the new committee comes on.
I suppose it's probably good to note that the current terms, the proposed changes and the new terms of reference have got the support of the current committee and have had input from the committee, so
And Karen's been very proactive in making sure that that committee had every opportunity to have their input into the final, well, the draft and then the final terms of reference, and endorse those as well before they came here to the council standing committee.
Any further questions?
We just want to see if all the members were happy with the content of it, if they did have any particular questions, because I do know that Karen and Jason and the team had worked on it, and there were some suggested changes, but it was heavily involved. There was a number of people involved with consulting to get it up to this stage, and I think we have a good document, Mr. Chairman.
and I mean you have flagged this with us before.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I have a mover, please? Move, councillor Goodman-Smith. Second, councillor Daniels. Okay, all those in favour? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'll just invite Jamie down to present the next report on the livability strategy update. I think she's got some, there seems to be a little flash drive here you need to plug in. Did you want to sit here, Jamie?
Sorry.
Did you know?
So
I just wanted to, I suppose, take the opportunity to bring back where we're at with the livability strategy. I suppose give a bit of an update as we will be starting our first part of community engagement in the next week with it, which is very exciting. So yeah, the report, I suppose, just gives doesn't really, I just want to hold a spot to give an update, and then also just propose a suggested clarification of the scope of the study as well. So to start, the line of sight for where the livability strategy, sits. Not that you can really see that much in that diagram, but that's the general diagram of council strategies plans that go from the corporate plan down to the annual report and where they sit in the feeding through of the budget process. I didn't realise it was going to show so tiny, but livability strategy sits pretty much under the corporate plan and will be supported by, I imagine, the draft economic master plan that CHDC are preparing. And if there's support for it today, the community wellbeing indicators project that has been previously pretty much finished but never formally adopted by council. Those three documents together make up, I suppose, contribute towards the nice sustainability equation of economic, social and environmental. If that is okay, the livability strategy can then have the ability just to be focused on more place-based elements as opposed to also trying to pick up on wellbeing elements as well, and they can be left to the Wellbeing Indicators Project, which is a huge body of work which does that incredibly well. So that was one, I suppose, element of today's discussion. I don't know if we want to talk about that separately first before I go into where we're at with the strategy and drafting, or?
Yeah, go through it. Any questions or?
The Community Wellbeing Indicators Project, does that, help me out, is that linked to the real wellbeing?
No, it's an ACOM report.
So how does the real wellbeing?
Yeah.
Does it have any influence on this at all?
No. In a nutshell.
There's a lot of wellbeing being tossed around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I suppose we just wanted to clarify at the start the difference between wellbeing and livability as we see it at our level. Wellbeing is very people focused, and livability is more the place-based environmental elements that create a livable environment that people can thrive in and all obviously go together.
That's a good explanation.
Janice is shaking your head at me. I haven't got that quite right.
I thought that sounded good.
Just through the chair, Janice, can I just ask that you maybe just explain to the committee about the community wellbeing indicators, because it was a report prepared, as Councillor Daniels said, by ACOM a number of years ago, but it really didn't get much traction. And having looked at that document now, there's some exceptional information in there that we can incorporate into the new livability strategy as we move forward. Did you want to just talk a little bit about, where it came from and what the result of that study was, Janice?
First off, probably coming back to.
Do you want to come down here? I think it might be a bit easier. Thanks. So the people down there.
Probably coming back to the concept of community well-being, I know the connotations around it, people are probably thinking it comes from that social or kind of aspect. However, the meaning or context in the Community Wellbeing Indicators report is multi-dimensional. So it is social, economic, natural environment, built environment and governance. And that report was completed as part of the community planning project. So the framework that's used for the indicators is based on the 5 key outcomes of the community plan. And the domains that we used were the ones that, after looking at the theme topics that are currently being used by Victoria and a report that was done through the LGAQ, we aligned those domains under the headings for the community plan on how we were going to be progressing those goals. So they were basically ways to measure and monitor. And then we also have a set of, they apply to the play space, exactly what Jamie was saying as well. So the idea is that that body of work was done. It was opportune at the time around all of the feedback that was given from the community as well through the community planning project. So now is a perfect opportunity to use that body of work, as Jamie was saying, to also be use those indicators as part of the livability strategy as well.
Any questions, more information?
I think it's, what you're proposing is a good approach, because what we were workshopping previously became so overwhelming. I didn't know how we were actually going to
I felt very much the same.
address it. So at least we focus on what we can actually directly impact on.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want more or?
Oh, that's it. I just wanted to gauge if that was a support idea before I continue. But we can, there's a recommendation, but we can come to that later if you want. I can keep going through this.
No.
So the last time, I think it was late last year, the last time that we went through the proposed categories for the indicators, and then we had a series of indicators under them as well that we used as measures. So I suppose since that time, reviewing a whole heap of paper and written material about what other areas are using internationally in Australia, we've been able to refine our actual measurable indicators a bit more. In doing that, we, I suppose, considered some different options for some of the different categories that we could use. So the categories that were last supported are on the far left, based on a review of best practice literature in more detail. The proposed is the proposed column. I suppose then there's a third or fourth alternative again of whether council wants to support aligning the indicator categories with the 5 categories of the community plan, or the 7 categories under the current corporate plan, as well as potential indicator categories. So I just wanted to put them on the table if we want consistency across all of them as well. The actual measurable indicators there, and some of them are proposed in the coming slides, but just as they can be moved around to fit whichever broader category you want to go under. I just wanted to give those options. And I understand the corporate plan's being reviewed too, so I'm not sure if that would.
Yeah, that was the other thing, Chair, just, how that would work with the time frame of the review of the corporate plan now.
If that will be progressed enough, we can keep working with them under whatever the new headings might be for the corporate plan. If that's the intended approach, we don't have to do that at all. It's just an option. There's the alternate proposed column there as well.
So just through the chair again, just Jamie, with the current proposed and alternate proposed, as we work towards delivering this project, which was the previous slide, which really showed where we wanted to head and work in with CHDC using our indicators to develop a livability strategy. I'm just wondering, is there do you want any particular feedback on the proposed categories here now, whether there's some support in principle, because we do know that the corporate plan is to be reviewed, but work has to continue, so.
I suppose support in principle will be valuable. It's not the be all and end all, the physical measurables. I'll just flip forward a slide. These are an example of the proposed measurables that will have for safety in terms of what we're actually going to look at, where it's coming from, and what the intended overall goal will generally be. again, these are based from previous workshops and then further review of best practice literature. And will probably be further refined again and added to. So they can be moved around in terms of what category they sit under, depending on what category is deemed most appropriate, but I just wanted to flag that there is an opportunity. Council does want to align it with other higher order documents that we can do that too.
Through the chair, can I make a comment?
I suppose I was looking at they're informing the, I suppose, what we can to some degree try to decrease them through changes in our built environment. And I suppose in terms of getting reliable statistics, otherwise everything's going to be, we're going to have a lot of subjective measures. We can have a lot of subjective and qualitative measures too, that's completely fine, but that is very dependent on people's opinions, so it's good to have a few objective ones in there.
Yeah, without control, like item 3 was.
Yeah, no, so that one doesn't have to stay in there. We've taken a few others out that aren't relevant. That one might not be relevant either, and we can take that out too.
Because when I look at that, I just sort of think, oh gee, how, you know, is it about, you know, improved safety or,
Yeah.
you know, maybe video surveillance or cameras or so I suppose I can see it's important for us to have linkages to those areas with Queensland Police and things like that, but it's.
Yeah, so I suppose it's on the, if we're finding that, like, the intention from with the strategy initially was that we will define what it is, where we're at today, where we want to go, and then the actual how we're going to get there, and where we want to go is going to be through, for example, like with improved telecommunications, through digital action plan and how we're going to try and decrease black spots and things to that effect, as opposed to actually sitting in the strategy itself, because it's going to try to do too much and it's going to duplicate on what everything else is. So I suppose that's up for discussion. If we see where we are and what our goal of where we want to get to, well, how can we try, what are some built environment measures that we can try to do to improve that?
I mean, they mightn't even be required at this point in time, but in the future, to decrease the number of peak crimes in an area, it may require removal of some bushes or, you know, I don't know, but.
And there's a lot of like crime prevention through environmental design, there's a heap of things in those types of practice guidelines that would be, So I suppose that's, the goals are up for discussion, they were just what seemed most appropriate. Do you really want to reduce?
And I mean, you just put that out as an example, haven't you?
Yeah. And I suppose I've got the next one over is a bit more, it's for health and social services. I'm not sure how well it comes up, but they're looking at, I suppose, generally built environment elements and place-based elements to that support, health, complete health. So, for example, number of general practitioners per population, average distance to the nearest medical centre with a GP, average wait times at hospitals, average distance to hospital, average distance to pharmacies, ratio of care services per population over 65 and population needing assistance. If these are completely wrong and completely off the mark, please tell me. This is just, I've tried to get measurable things that are going to have, I suppose, integrity over time that we can rely on to actually measure our improvement. If we don't want to measure our improvement, that's fine. We can go back to having statements and interpreting. I've just tried to grab things so that we can actually watch progress and see if what we're trying to implement is working. If that's not the intention of the strategy again, and that's off the mark, please tell me.
It certainly improved, that's a livability factor.
Yeah.
But as it counts, being a local government and you've got federal and state responsibilities there and the lack of control, that's what
I suppose.
How do we influence that?
That's up for discussion.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a lot we can do in terms of allocating land for medical centres and allocating, if we've got land available, or making it as easy as possible for those things to be developed through planning provisions. what we can do to attract more GPs to our area. I think we're doing incredible work in that space to begin with, but yeah, those types of examples is actually how we do it is up for discussion. But if we want to measure our progress over time, which I thought was the initial intention, these seem like reliable.
Well, they're best practice, aren't they? From a lot of, they're best practice from a lot
Yeah,
of
and then
people,
I
so.
suppose going to have integrity over time. Get to say.
Is this what, is this, this is all new to me, but is this the sort of stuff that other councils use when they look at livability? Are these similar indicators that other local governments use?
No.
No, that's what Genesis is saying, and I think what Jamie's saying, is that we're just treading on the front end here, we're leading rather than following. Most of the other stuff in your bigger cities and stuff like that, it's more about, there's a whole lot of like spin doctor stuff that, so the worldwide trend on livability, which is the best city to live in, you know, Sydney or New York or whatever, they're a totally different sort of spectrum. What we're trying to do here is something that's more localised, and generally one comes out of the community planning stuff. The second part then comes into input into your strategic planning stuff. But these are really, this is really leading edge stuff. I don't know, Jamie, you can pull some of it out of the book, but there's not a lot of it there, is there? And some of the stuff that Janice has been doing, the people that we deal with and been talking to nationally and are saying that we're ahead of the pack. Yeah. Would you say that, Jane? I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. And where Michael's comment before was, one of the things that council are aware of is that we not only provide the services and programs that we're responsible for, but council also advocate on a whole range of things that aren't necessarily the responsibility of council. However, if council want to be informed and have the evidence to support how you advocate with those agencies, with your communities, as well as have good evidence on how you're progressing or trending with measuring indicators around what you're delivering on, you've got the whole picture. With the community planning wellbeing indicators, because it has all of the 5 outcome areas, and they're actually linked to national domains, so that puts us up there, and we're using domains and indices, which they are, that fall into being used by the state or national or international. I would go back to Jamie's offer, to go back to Jamie's first question about whether you would link with the corporate plan or the community plan for those indicators. I would recommend the community plan, because what will happen there is you've got a holistic bunch of indicators, if you like, and it may be specific ones that you pull out of that bunch that will inform your livability strategy. So in essence, what Jamie's saying is, if we have the one set of indicators that's holistic, then there's specific ones. We're using the same indicators. We're not running off this way to gather different data. That we've got this holistic data that that CHDC and economic development will inform these economic ones, and then there's specific ones that you'll use for your livability strategy, and it's not duplicating, but we're all moving on the same path.
Through the chair, I hear what Janice is saying here. I think that's important, but I think it's also, I'd like to see it developed up a little bit more before we'd actually start saying we're choosing one or the other. I think to get the livability strategy sort of, I guess, comfortable in everyone's mind, I wouldn't like it completely community plan focused, and I'd like to see it, I guess, exposed to lots of sort of philosophies before we actually decide where we might match it and indicate it. Because I think, I know it's a very broad term, but I mean, in terms of livability, you know, you'll have a lot of engagement with the community plan that we have, great engagement. There's some parts of it that not. I'm not saying it's a substitute or a replacement of, it's just more of a, let's just see it develop up a bit. And then in a decision-making process and from a practical point of view, let's see what those important things are to us and apply them to some of their operational stuff as well, and just see where it helps us or doesn't help us. So I think, before we start tracking one way,
And that's a really good comment too, Mayor, because some of those indicators may actually be things that council deliver on as well. So they inform the bigger picture as well.
Yeah, it's hard to look at these indicators without knowing what we're actually, you know, what the high level activity is. So I guess, and you probably have started with that and matching the indicators.
I suppose the general sense is that you want to improve the safety of our communities and region. You want to improve the health services available in our communities and regions. You want to improve, that's generally what the intent is. I suppose by doing the community engagement, we'll hopefully get exactly what those statements look like. Yeah, we can work on some today if everybody's keen.
At the moment, it seems to be running pretty good as far as time goes, so.
Because I look at those indicators and they're all sound great. There's a lot of data that is going to sit behind all of those indicators, and then all I see is a whopping big job to make sure that those indicators are kept up to date, like they're accurate. So the measuring of the increases and the decreases, that's a huge job in itself, just looking at that little list there.
I suppose a lot of them are able to do a desktop analysis by, in terms of localities. You can do a lot via GIS services, and then a lot working in with, I suppose, providers around the region.
And a lot of what I look at there at a quick snapshot links straight back to planning, you know, having good planning schemes, and that is obviously something that sits within council. And some of the other things are more around advocacy, and there is a role for council to play, I guess, in all of that, but there's a lot to do.
Well, we don't have to necessarily, you know, that's the list at this stage, we're still working through it. Certainly take on board what the Mayor has said. And I suppose too, just following on from what the Deputy Mayor said too, and I suppose that's why I thought Jamie would be a perfect lead for this with her planning expertise as well, that the integration would be there. But yeah, I suppose it's, you know, the purpose of today's was to give the table a bit more of an information about where we're heading, and at least provide a little bit more perspective on now that we're going to be using some of the community wellbeing indicators. You know, I do feel that the community engagement will bring some more information out. I think the CRGs and other community groups will be active in their involvement in the development of this strategy as well. But yeah, we certainly take on board what we've said today.
And just on those indicators, are you looking at like the average wait time hospital? Would it be for each of the communities that have a hospital? So that'd just be sort of listed within, yeah.
So it'd be not applicable for the ones that don't.
Yeah.
And working in with the, I suppose, the chief health officer reporting annually in the CQ School and Health Services team through that. And I suppose in continuing to work through as well, some of them, the best source that we can get data from is census. So some of the indicators can only be really updated every 5 years. Whilst you could reword them and get them from different sources, that's a very accurate source that gets, I suppose, the whole population completed. So, and then some other ones will be able to be updated annually or 6 monthly or even more frequently, depending on how regularly we want to look at them, I suppose. But if this is generally on the right path of how everybody saw it progressing,
So through the chair, Jamie, that's what you're looking for, that's the structure you kind of want to work against, so I can actually take this a little bit
I
further.
suppose, well, this will be physically how we measure where we are and where we're going. There will be your pretty words and, sorry, that's kind of a bit nasty, but there'll be the nice statements of what the goal is with the strategy as well, which we've had some work around and are in draft form as well.
Well, I'm certainly happy with that, I'm happy with that as a direction, I think that looks, you know, I like to keep it tangible, and I think that is,
And we'll just keep the categories kind of unconfirmed where they are. for the
Yeah,
email,
until we
and
see.
Just keep working through, yeah, no worries. And there is support, I suppose the recommendation was for support to clarify the scope of the livability strategy just to be focused on place-based environmental elements. And it was also to, I suppose, revisit the community indicators project, community wellbeing indicators project, so that they can work together to finalise, I suppose, well, it's pretty much a finalised document, but give it a refresh because it's a few years old now, and have it for adoption as well, because they give, I suppose, work hand in hand in measuring the wellbeing, measuring the livability of an area. With their support for that, that's what the recommendation was, that we can look at the recommendation if people aren't comfortable with that.
There's two parts of there, Jamie. Did you want to just go through those?
Yeah.
So clarification on the scope.
So yeah, whether that council support the clarification of the scope of the livability strategy to be focused on the place-based elements that contribute to achieving sustainable Central Highlands. It's one element, and the second was, and further that council support the community wellbeing indicators project being revisited and presented for adoption, focusing on the social wellbeing elements that contribute towards a sustainable Central Highlands.
Yep, I'll move that.
Okay. Move, councillor Goodwin-Smith, second councillor Daniels. No further debate. All those in favour? Carried unanimous. So we're moving on to the update on staff housing. Through you, Luke.
Through the chair, this report provides an update on the performance of council staff housing portfolio over the past 2 years. So the current staff housing portfolio includes 103 units of accommodation that are divided over a number of different townships. Last year, in December 2015, we experienced a low in the occupancy rates for that housing, with that rate going to 62% after being essentially fully occupied during the mining boom. Since that time, we've been working on implementing some changes to address those low occupancy rates. And we've also obviously worked on the draft housing strategy to try and inform some of those decisions. As a result of some of those trends and some renewed interest, you can see in the table attached that the occupancy rates are returning up, and we're currently at about 78% occupancy in staff housing across the entire portfolio. So that occupancy rate is returning council approximately $43,000 per month in rental revenue, which in the ideal world we use a part of that to obviously maintain those houses. There are a number of different properties that remain vacant. So there are 20 properties that remain vacant at the current time. The majority of those properties are in Capella. And we are currently looking at some options to increase interest in those properties. So we have at the moment some staff who are considering relocating to Capella, and that would be an opportunity for us to increase occupancy in some of those houses and also increase utilisation of the Capella office. These are probably plans that are, require some more work behind them, but certainly there appears to be some renewed interest in the housing stock, which is a positive sign. The final part of the update report simply outlines the future direction, which was essentially captured in the draft housing strategy. So that future direction identified that there were a number of properties that could be part of future disposal of stock in a number of different ways. And so councillors would recall that last year there was a decision about Doon Street to convert that into an arts and cultural precinct. And so that takes 5 units of that proposed disposal list, but it retains it for use by the community. So we're currently still in negotiations with the department about the change of use for those properties, and hopefully we will be in position to complete the conversion works and have the Blackwater Arts and Cultural groups make better use of that space. The remaining properties are subject to a review, a housing inspection to come in the next quarter, and the intention is to review the condition of those housing and determine whether or not they're suitable for, I suppose, reporting to council recommending sale or other use. So if we were to dispose of those properties, the impact on occupancy rates for staff housing would take us from where we currently are at 78% occupancy to about 90% occupancy, which is a fairly strong performance given where we were a couple of years ago. No recommendations related to that report, simply provided council's information.
Just through the chair, if we were thinking of disposing of some of those properties, would we be better off waiting for a while to see, like we've all heard about Adani and the impact that could have on this area, particularly the Capella ones I'll be thinking about. I just think that we wouldn't want to rush in and dispose of them when there may be an opportunity there for us to develop that area and utilise that facilities for expansion.
Yeah, through the chair, you're exactly right, Councillor Nixon, that we don't particularly want to rush into any disposal plans in those areas because we are conscious of new developments in and around those areas. There are probably some where it's more for us to identify the condition of the asset in the first instance and determine whether or not council wants to invest more money in returning that asset to a suitable condition, or whether or not we do look at it as a future disposal. So that disposal could happen next financial year, or it could happen 10 years' time. So it really depends on the market conditions as well.
Yeah. And we don't really have a report in here of what condition the houses are in, so I mean,
not at this time, no. We did do a condition report in early 2015 to inform the housing strategy. We need to renew that as part of our operational plan commitments, and at this point in time we're anticipating that review will conclude probably around April or May this year, and that will cover all council-owned housing. So certainly once we have that information, we should have a much better idea of the condition of our assets and then what works would be needed to return them to a suitable standard.
And Luke, the houses we've got in Duringa, there's reasonable occupancy in Duringa?
There is reasonable occupancy in Duringa. We have 2 vacant properties, both of which need, from my understanding, significant work. One of those properties in particular, the cost of the works is estimated to be more than what we would reasonably get as a return on the property. So it's probably one where we would be advocating for sale, for removal. The land itself may be valuable to council, but the house in its current state is probably not suitable. But we can certainly review that with the next round of housing assessments and confirm that we're not just exaggerating.
Well, it just went through my mind, if it's not good enough for us, is it good enough for removal? So.
Well, through the chair, there's certainly, it's unusual, there's some unusual interest with the removal houses. There are some people who are looking for a good structure that they can relocate or to different properties. We had some interest a couple of years back with the sale of the Emerald Pool House from the Duringa area, with a grazier who was looking for a farmhouse. I assume he's probably located another property by now, but there may be some interest.
I remember at a community consultation during where they raised that it's a lack of available rental space, and that there was a concern around that. And I guess maybe that's something we consider to looking to dispose of houses.
Yes, well, through the chair, there certainly has been some issues raised there through community consultation in the Junior area over the past few years.
Yeah.
The key factor from my perspective, I suppose, is making sure we have suitable housing stock. And in some cases, it may be preferable to have a different type of housing than what we currently have in our properties. So one of the suggestions under the draft strategy was that if we did dispose of certain stock and have proceeds from sales, that we could potentially reinvest some of that for a different style of housing in our key areas of need. And so that may mean that instead of having 3 or 4 bedroom houses, we may instead have 1 or 2 bedroom units. And so it's just about looking at the market and what would actually support the workforce. There's also an opportunity if we had a large number of properties and there was perhaps not a staff demand, but a broader community demand, that we could change the utilisation to meet a different purpose. So the staff housing is owned outright by council. So there is an opportunity there if there was a growing need in community housing, or if there was a growing need in just supporting a different business sector, that we could do commercial rental agreements to fill those vacancies.
We've already got a few of those, haven't we, through the chair?
Yes, through the chair, we have one private rental in the Dringa area, and I believe 2 in the Springshaw area. I'm not aware of any others at the moment in any of the other areas.
I just knew that there were some in Springshaw. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Luke.
No further questions?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to community housing, which is covered very well.
Through the chair, this next update report provides similar statistics in relation to our community housing portfolio, which is essentially a combination of council-owned and state-owned housing that we manage on the state's behalf. So there's a total of 89 units of accommodation that are used for community housing. Historically, our occupancy rate for community housing has been around 80%. We did have a downturn in occupancy early last year, which was due to a number of different factors that include the transfer of tenants to higher level supported living, relocation of tenants from the area, and unfortunately some of the passing of our tenants. So we do have there are levels of fluctuation in that housing portfolio, but we currently have that return to 82% in December, which is a fairly good level of occupancy given the conditions. One of the difficulties in managing our community housing portfolio is the eligibility criteria under the state government, and that means that some of our vacancies remain, I suppose, unoccupied for a lot longer than they may otherwise be, if we had more flexible arrangements. So some of the things that we are doing to try and address that is where we have a vacancy that remains for a significant period of time, we can apply through the department to look at it as a hard-to-let premises, and then potentially free up some of the criteria around that on those one-off instances. And through the draft housing strategy, we're also obviously looking at options to purchase additional equity, and which then gives council greater control of tenancy conditions. So there's currently 10 vacant properties in that portfolio, and the monthly return is about $35,500 per month, based on that current occupancy. So predominantly the vacancies are again in the Capella area. It is probably part of that larger trend. There are currently 2 vacant properties in Springshaw joint Knowledge, and one in Anarchy, which is probably very close to becoming a hard to let property.
Just through the chair, a comment I had to make. The community housing, those people, a lot of them are small units. Pensions, and out of 89 properties, we're getting $35,000. 103 staff, they're probably better paid than most of those people in the community ones. We're getting 42,000. Does it sound right?
Through the chair, it is something which we're looking at. Obviously, under the state, on the community housing, the rental is determined on a percentage of their income. With the staff housing, we are currently moving through for the draft housing strategy. The proposal was to have staff housing rented at 100% market rental. So over time, I would anticipate that the rental return from staff housing will increase as legacy arrangements from previous lease agreements and in some cases previous councils are, I suppose, amended.
Yeah, I think it's something we need to look at. You know, just those figures, they are really bad.
And through the chair, certainly aware of the equity side of things, particularly for our community housing. And we do market rent evaluations regularly in both portfolios to try and make sure that we're aware of what the current market is, and where there's a decrease in rental, those are applied immediately. So generally speaking, there's a great period of grace that's allowed for community housing on any market increases. But we do pass on any decreases in rent immediately to those markets.
Through the mayor, like I've got rental property, and every time you renew your lease, they want to down. I mean, I don't know that ours are fluctuating as much as the actual market is.
You'd be
It's
curious.
something we need to look at.
Yeah, and similar to Councillor Nixon's comments, my thoughts were particularly in relation to our staff housing. I wondered what the rate of return was, on the value of the asset, and what percentage return on investment we actually get, because at the end of the day, it's important to get enough back that it's covering repairs and maintenance on buildings. And I'm not sure how the calculation is around staff housing, but probably needs to be looked at.
Well, through the chair, I'm happy to do some more work on that, particularly in concert with the asset maintenance reviews that we have upcoming, because that would be a good opportunity for us to actually identify the condition of those assets and get a better idea of the market value and therefore calculate the return. But certainly we are looking at those issues with regards to community housing, and the intention for us is obviously to be able to make sure that we're maintaining quality housing for our seniors, and while also meeting any of the state government's guidelines for that provision of that housing.
Because our ratepayers should not be subsidising staff housing when it comes to, new kitchens and so on. Hopefully that sort of can be self-funding through the return that you get through the rental.
Well, through the chair, certainly our intention is to try and make sure that the housing portfolios can self-fund wherever possible. Probably historically, I think it's fair to say that hasn't occurred. When the times have been good and we've achieved higher occupancy, we've certainly had a return on investment, which has allowed us to basically be trading operating in the black. Community housing has always been a better performing part of the portfolio than staff housing. Staff housing has fluctuated a lot. And so quite often because of also the age of our housing stock, it has become difficult for us to keep it maintained at an acceptable level. The cost of maintenance is increasing with the age of the assets. So, but we can certainly, we have identified those costs previously through the draft housing strategy, and so we can certainly bring that back to council again to give you an idea of a snapshot of how we're performing at the current time.
Thanks.
Okay, no further questions?
Thank you.
Move on to general business. Any general business?
I have general business and Brace's walking bills. On the 2nd of February, we've got a level playing field working committee at 9, and then we've got that Northern Australian thing coming in at 11:30. I was just wondering if we could actually put the level playing field start a little bit earlier, so at 8:30 or something.
Yeah, I'm more than happy. Chair, more than happy. If we can get all of those members along, we can certainly talk to the officers in attendance. 8:30 start?
Yeah, if that's all right.
Yeah,
because-
I could, well, I'll just check with Mark and the team and then I'll let you know at lunchtime or something like that. That's all good.
Yeah, it's just that I think probably a few of us will be going to that
Yeah.
Australian thing because it's in
No
Everett.
problem.
Through the chair, back to councillor Nixon, query there, I mean, happy to start early, I'm not just sure that the Northern Australia thing is dead set certain qualified as a time, but I'm happy to start early anyhow, so I'd be certain. I think there's councillor Daniels who are involved in the committee.
Yeah.
Councillor McIntyre, councillor Lacey, I think is as well.
Yep, yes.
Yeah, so I think
And,
everyone, as long as everyone's going to be there, happy to start.
Yeah, it was just something I noticed the other day, bit of a spill over there, so I just wanted to bring that up. Also, we had a work camp meeting, in December, and we've got another one planned, like their quarterly. And I was just wondering if those minutes should come through this committee. I don't know what's happened to them previously. I know that the minutes from the December meeting haven't been distributed anywhere as yet, but I just wonder, do they come here or should they come here, or how do they actually get to the council, or does council want to know what's going on with that work camp committee or not?
I think it's the way to send out, I don't use the number either.
Yeah, no, through the chair, I wasn't aware that the work camp minutes previously had come to the council. I don't know, I don't mind putting them on the portal or something, or if that's,
No, that's why I'm putting it out.
Yeah,
Do we want to
yeah.
know or not, or does anyone want to know what happens there, or do I send them to the councillors that they're interested, or?
Any comments?
well, I'll certainly go with where the direction is. I think if there's minutes produced, if they can be provided to the portal, I don't think there's.
Through the chair, I think, given that, obviously decisions around that obviously impact certain expenditure areas, I'd be happy to have it on the council portal as a reference. I think at any time to see how it's in Australia, so I'll be, if the council's happy with that,
Yeah.
I'd certainly like to see them, because if there was some direction away from that, I'd like to know about it.
Yeah, they also work in the campfields.
Yes, sorry, yeah.
No, they're doing awesome work. It'd be just nice if you wanted to look up
Yeah.
what sort of
Yeah, no problem.
initiatives they're involved in the committee. It's really there, so, yeah, it'd be good.
Okay, that's me, thanks. Jeff?
I just wanted to have one comment to say, to say that Parks and Rec team, how well they're doing with the clean-up of the Botanic Gardens. It's looking great. I've had some
Really great.
good comments coming
Yeah.
back from the community, and also to do with the grading of the paths down to the year as well. So
No, it's been really positive.
it's a big change in the garden.
So, any other general business? No further general business? We'll move on to the closed session.
So moved.
Move Councillor Nixon, second Councillor Goodwin
Yes,
Smith.
okay, now? Think you want a copy now?
Just maybe,